I think it's sometime about November the 22nd.
Yeah.
What do you think a chance of Brian May and Roger Taylor turning up in Switzerland? Because that mean anniversary, didn't they?
Yeah, it's possible, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
I know Brian May goes a lot because there's a shop called Bazaar Swiss.
Yeah.
And they sell a lot of Queen memorabilia.
Yeah, yeah.
And last year we were talking to owner, and he knows Brian May right well. He says he's always in with his family.
Yeah, yeah.
He always pops over, so.
Well, yeah,
you never know, do you?
it's quite possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite possible. Well, we'll go to where he lives. I mean, once upon a time, you used to see him quite a lot. On a Saturday, he'd be just jetting off to the US, you know, and his car and his driver would be outside the front door waiting for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was our first sort of Queen site. The next site is on our right-hand side, is Chelsea Town Hall.
Yeah.
And Chelsea Town Hall, that's where Roger Taylor married his first wife. The witnesses, Freddie and Mary Austin, yeah?
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that Roger stayed with the wife for 3 weeks, and then he moved in with his girlfriend, who he bought a £700,000 house. This was back in sort of 1988, yeah? And the thing was, Roger Taylor married Dominique to make sure the kids inherited, yeah? Their rightful part of the estate. So I thought he was a good guy. So Chelsea Town Hall on the right hand side, yeah? And you can see the flowers around the entrance. That's where folk get married. It's also a rock and roll location, and that's where David Gilmour held his 50th birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the last time that George Harrison played guitar in public. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the right hand side, Anthropology, that used to be a kind of indoor market, and there was a store there selling Japanese inspired gear, and that's where David Bowie got his inspiration for Ziggy Stardust. Chelsea Potter, famous rockers pub, that's Rolling Stones. Rod Stewart used to hang out outside and wait for someone to buy him a drink before he'd go in, because he was too tight to spend money on his own.
Scottish though, yeah.
Scottish guy. And also that's where Jim Morrison got pissed on the first night of they had a couple of gigs at the Roundhouse. So yeah, a real rockers pub. No, nice to go in there for a beer. And our second Queen stop is here on the left hand side. Can you see this is called the Pheasantry, yeah? Now I did mention that I'll just stop you for a moment. I did mention that Queen hired this place as they were going to perform in front of all the major labels, A&R men, yeah? And so they already had a deal with Charisma, and Charisma were going to pay them about 25 grand to sign on, but they didn't want to pay second fiddle to Genesis, so they were looking for a major label. So they put on this show. All the major labels turned up. It was an absolute disaster. They just couldn't get their amps to work. Loads of feedback. Even John Deacon couldn't get it sorted. So it was a total disaster, and Queen did not get any deal from that night. So a bit of a shame. And weirdly, Phil Collins was in the audience that night. Legend has it. But also importantly, on the top floor, this is where Eric Clapton lived at the time he was writing Disraeli Gears, the Cream album.
Oh yeah.
And remember, on that album there's a track called Badge, George Harrison.
Yeah.
So George Harrison and Eric actually wrote a song here. One of a few, yeah? And a famous site of a drug bust, yeah? Eric kind of knew he was going to be busted. He didn't tell any of his neighbours and all sorts of stuff. And when the drug squad busted through the front door, he actually ran out the back and down there. So another Eric Clapton haunt in Chelsea, yeah?
Yeah.
And just across the road back in the 1960s, it was a really cool club, and that was the site of the first public sighting of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up here on the left-hand side, can you see Joe and the Juice?
Yeah.
This was the site of Mary Quant's original boutique called Bazaar. This is where the mini skirt was invented, yeah?
Yeah.
Back in the day. A little further down here, there's a Vidal Sassoon store. You know, he was a cult hairdresser of the 1960s. Yeah. He still has a little store along here, just on the left, coming up. Yeah. And then on the right, can you see McDonald's? That was the Chelsea drugstore. Yeah. That's where Mick Jagger and Keith Richards got their heroin. Mick sometimes didn't get the drugs that he wanted, so he wrote the song, "You can't always get what you want."
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Well, I want to turn down one of these roads. And on the right hand side, you see this big red brick building?
Yeah.
Ringo Starr's got a penthouse apartment. Doesn't spend a lot of time these days, but he still has it here. Okay, so I am. So this is, you know, down this end of King's Road, there's a lot of big stores, but it wasn't like that in the 1960s. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to head for Kensington. Okay. So let's head for Kensington. See, there are not so many houses around here, more apartments, yeah?
Yeah.
But big apartments. Right, I'm just... so they're getting a little congested around here. Is he going to go?